Growing up a fairly typical American suburban life, I always drove what was in the driveway, which means that sometimes I had a car to myself to drive, and sometimes I was sharing it with one or two other people, just depending on how many people were home in the given season of life. So I was always privileged to have something to drive, but it was never something I had any say in, which was fine with me. So first it was a 2007 Volkswagen Jetta, rest in peace, and then later it was a 2007 Volvo S60R, which gave me the challenging but worthwhile opportunity to learn how to drive a manual car. After graduating college, I worked for a year in Boston, and I was happy, very happy to not have a car there, and instead just relied on walking, riding my boosted board, taking the subway, or sometimes Ubering or relying on friends and their cars to get around. And life was good. But this summer I am planning a long and extended West Coast road trip, which means I'm gonna need a car of my own. Now, the past cars I had driven suffered variously from a roof lining that peeled off, to button labels that completely melted off, to a car stereo system that totally broke down and malfunctioned.
Turn up your own business. So this becomes a great way of getting more out of myself. And so, but I think that it has to be a limitation.
So with this car, I was really looking forward to having the following features. First, adaptive cruise control. I always really loved standard cruise control and thought it was just a fantastic feature for riding on highways, but adaptive cruise control takes it to the next level, especially for a West Coast trip. I'm gonna want that. Secondly, sunroof. I love sunroofs. I love that extra sunshine and breeze, and again, if I'm going out west, I'm gonna want to soak it all in. Next, 30 plus MPG, average over highway and city. Pretty easy to find these days. Next, keyless entry, just keeps it really simple and easy to have your key on your belt loop and just not worry about it getting in and out of the car. Really nice feature. Next, wireless CarPlay. Next, good looking car, naturally. Then, manual car, just more fun to drive. Next, fast-ish car. Don't want it to be boring. And finally, looking for a sedan. I like more compact things in general from my iPhone 13 mini, and I've got a dozen other examples. So I wasn't looking for a crossover or an SUV or a truck. I wanted a sedan. So at first, I thought the Jetta SLI Autobahn was the car for me. GLI. I have an affinity for Jettas, even if mine left me stranded on the middle of the highway driving back from college with all of my stuff. But still, I think Jettas are underrated cars, and the GLI is definitely an underrated car. 228 horsepower, manual options, sunroof, everything else I was looking for, plus a sportier design than their standard Jetta models. I thought this was the one. Now, my implicit goal was to be able to fold down the rear seats and basically sleep in the car for weekend trips. Just fold down the seats, throw down some pillows and a couple foam mattress topper type things, and not have to pay for a hotel or an Airbnb. Although Reddit was, as usual, cynical and unhelpful about the idea of sleeping in a sedan, I was determined to make it work. And the guys at the Volkswagen dealership thought I was a little crazy, but their job was to sell me a car, not to dissuade me of my poor sleeping decisions. But then a friend recommended the Volkswagen Golf GTI, and I said, no way, I didn't want a hatchback, I wanted something smaller. And then he rather coarsely corrected me that, in fact, the GTI was smaller than the sedan. And apparently a lot of hatchbacks are actually the same size or smaller than their sedan counterparts. And then I realized, you know what? Hatchbacks also feel so much freer and more adventurous, not having that back seat trunk division. Okay, so then I thought the Volkswagen Golf GTI was the car for me. It was small, it had space to lay down in the back, fold the seats flat, and it didn't have that pesky division between the rear seats and the trunk. And while the GTI is actually a little bit faster and sportier technically than the Jetta GLI, I just didn't love the shape, and I also found it actually, if anything, a little bit too small. So my hunt for the perfect hatchback continued. The bacon chicken sandwich biggie bag.
The crispy BLT?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Yes. This is about to be my first cup in the cup holder. Very excited. Thank you. Thank you. You too. Oh, yes. Biggie bag, honestly. I used to hate on it. Used to sleep on it. Big fan now. All right, so I've only got 3 minutes before my next appointment. Nuggies can stay in the car for a while and still be delicious. So the nuggies are staying in the bag till after the appointment. The fries cannot hang. So the fries are going to be eaten now.
1 hour later.
So then I started the process of looking at other hatchbacks, watching YouTube videos and reading guides and reviews, all these blogs that kept saying naturally aspirated engine, which I had no idea what that meant. And then I found it. I landed on the one that I wanted. This is the Honda Civic Sport Touring hatchback. Alright, so that's a lot of information for me to say. It's a Honda Civic, but I really like it. I think it does all the small things well, and it had almost literally everything I was looking for in a car. I guess really the only downside is that it's just not as quick as I was hoping for. But, you know, you win some, you lose some. Let me know what you think about this. I think the color is awesome. I think the design on the inside is really great and premium, and it just does everything really well. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.